Hello, sweet friends, and welcome back to Silverhawk Farm. And welcome to the very first video of 2024. I have not posted in a hot minute. I'll address that here shortly, just where I've been, what I've been up to, and what's going on, and what we've got planned for coming up this year. I am doing things a little out of order for myself this morning. Normally, I wake up and I do the animal chores first thing, but I woke up and my husband was making eggs and sausage, so I chose to wait, eat breakfast, and then have a cup of coffee before getting out to get the animals, which is a nice little change of pace for a sleepy Friday. I am just finishing up my coffee here. I finished up my breakfast. I am super grateful to my former self who was drowning in eggs for freezing some because we have had no eggs during this cold burst, and the few that did get laid froze so way quicker than I could get to them and were cracked. So we probably have some really well-fed raccoons out in the field because we just chuck them out into the field whenever we get a frozen egg. I mean, it's really clean, like it doesn't break anywhere, it's just frozen, and we've got a lot of wildlife on our land who I'm sure appreciates the eggs, so it's a win-win. So it looks like my last video was about 2 months ago, which is way longer than I ever want to go between posting. I had kind of a combination of like I'd been working really hard on YouTube stuff and kind of falling behind on other things like house projects, making my Christmas gifts, getting the house ready for having visitors for Christmas, as well as getting ready to travel. And I had a lot of things going on with Twitch. I stream over on Twitch, a lot of gaming content, but I've been doing a lot of crafting and stuff over there as well. I've had like fundraisers and team events and a lot of really cool fun stuff happening over there, but it's just kind of taken up the time that I have to sit down and work on personal projects. All of that said, I've spent a lot of the last 2 months just in like a semi-comatose hibernation state that happens to me every single winter. So when it's been frigid and cold and like dark, I have a really hard time doing anything. So this year has been better than previous years, actually. Despite not keeping up with YouTube, I've been keeping up with other things better, but it still has definitely taken a toll on me. It's exhausting. If anyone has like seasonal affective disorder or anything like that, it can feel really exhausting. I am looking into like upping my vitamin D levels and doing all of the medical things. Don't worry about me. That being said, we're getting kind of to the point in the year where it is simultaneously still really cold and it's go time. Because I need to start seeds, I need to order seeds, I need to start prepping, covering the areas where I'm gonna do in-ground beds. I have so many cool things coming up that I barely get to do because it's so cold outside, but being in Kansas, we get really inconsistent weather. So we've been at like 0 degrees for like the last 2 weeks. It's been so cold, but every once in a while we'll get like a 50 or 60 degree day, which when you're acclimated to the super cold temperatures feels so warm. So on those days we try and get out and get some work done outside as much as we can if it's not too wet. It's been really, really wet this time of year. Beyond that, I had a really lovely Christmas season. My in-laws came in town, my mother and father-in-law, as well as my brother and sister-in-law and their middle son, who is 19, I believe, and their youngest son, who is the same age as my oldest son, and they are very, very best friends. So my oldest got to hang out with his best friend for multiple weeks, and they got to get good and sick of each other. I got to spend a lot of wonderful time with my in-laws. I made everybody's Christmas presents. I am so happy with them. I made these little hobbit door ornaments. Isn't that adorable? So I took up wood burning. I actually like burned the wood design in this. This is a little button. I glued this all together, and then it's got this to be an ornament. But I had so much fun with this. So basically, for my gifts for my loved ones who love Lord of the Rings, they all got one of these. Anyone who's not super into Lord of the Rings, I came up with an alternate ornament for. So my mother-in-law and father-in-law got this really beautiful sunflower ornament that I'm so, so proud of. I forgot to take a picture of it before I gifted it to them, but I might text her and see if she can send me one, in which case I'll post it here. And then my sister loves flamingos. So I've been working on this flamingo ornament that I embroidered. I actually just like traced an image and used like carbon paper and then just kind of like free stitched it, which I found to be so much fun. And like I really enjoy the freedom of being able to just like embroider kind of randomly. Like I like the chaos of it. I don't like having to count stitches is what I'm really trying to say. I had so much fun making Christmas gifts, even if it took up a lot of my time and energy. And then I also did homemade hot sauce. I did homemade vanilla. I did homemade like dehydrated peppers made into like a spice that you would treat like a paprika or a cayenne. And then after Christmas, my mother and father-in-law and my older nephew who was visiting went back to South Dakota, and my brother and sister-in-law and their youngest son stayed here and took care of the farm for an entire week, and my children for an entire week, so that me and my husband could go to New Orleans. I'll probably be popping some photos up while I'm talking about it, but it was such a spectacular trip. I got to see my aunt who has a beautiful home in the French Quarter and got to see that. I got to eat so much good food, y'all. I did not have a single bite of bad food while I was there, of any meal, no matter how randomly we chose where we were eating. Everything was good. I already have like 10 things that I want to go back to or go to for the first time that we didn't have time to. So we had a lot of really incredible New Orleans food. We stayed in the French Quarter. We wandered around. We walked so much. We had just a really fun time, and it was so nice to be able to get away from the farm and have some time, just the two of us without the kids, because we don't have that very often at all. So that was so lovely, and the off chance you're watching this, Chris and Sarah, thank you so much. I love you guys, you're wonderful. Of course, as soon as I got back, I was hoping to get right back into things, but I needed a week to recover before working on like YouTube or content creation or anything like that. And then obviously I got sick as soon as I was actually ready to start working again. So I'm feeling better now. It was just a cold, thank goodness. I'm immunocompromised, so something like a cold can really knock me down. Something like COVID can knock me out for weeks, if not months. Really, really grateful that I'm feeling better already, even though it's only been like a week or so of feeling icky. And I'm really excited to get back to it. I'm going to be doing a lot of content this year. I have some really big plans. I have so many video ideas. I have cooking video ideas. We have so many farm projects that we're working on. In case you're worried that I was giving up YouTube, quite the opposite. I was taking a much needed break before the busiest season yet. I'll talk a little bit about my 2023 New Year's resolution, which I blew out of the water, but my resolution for 2024 is to hit YouTube Partner, which I am going to speak into the world. If you're unfamiliar, YouTube Partner basically just means that you've hit a certain threshold of subscribers as well as watch hours. So you watching this is helping me accomplish that goal. Of course, subscribing is always accomplishing that goal. Liking and commenting on videos can help promote it in the algorithm, which again is helping me accomplish that goal. So I'm going to be really honest and upfront about my goals for this channel, because I think it's good to. I don't think it's a bad thing to dream about success or your hard work paying off or whatever. So that's my goal, but that goal is slightly outside of my control. So the sub goal for that is that I would like to post at least once a week, even if sometimes it's a shorter update video or I'm having to pre-record a bit so I can take a break. So my goal is at least once a week. I would love to be posting more, like twice a week, but I don't want to burn myself out too much. So for right now, you can expect weekly videos from me for 2024, and they're gonna vary just between the farm, the garden, the kitchen, preserving, canning, all of the things, as well as the other side of homesteading, which is the home stuff, you know, relationships, kids, homeschooling, parenting, all of that good stuff. Stay tuned. That's kind of the update of what I've got planned, and I think that I need to finish my coffee so we can go feed the animals in what is basically just a swamp. So hopefully I don't drop the camera. I have a slight change to my order of operations in morning chores since we last did them together. I've got some unsalted peanuts that I'm going to bring out to my crows. My 2023 New Year's resolution, I decided I only wanted to have silly resolutions, like things that were a little less pressure and a little more fun, because the previous year I made all sorts of goals, I didn't hit them, and then I felt terrible about it. So last year, My goal was to befriend the crows that live near and on my farm. So why crows? I like them. I think they're pretty. I like that they're big. They're very intelligent. They can recognize faces. They can hold grudges. They can steal for you. They're like little Robin Hoods. But they also, on a more practical level, tend to scare off hawks, which can mess with chickens, but they do coexist very peacefully with chickens. They don't mess with them. I've never had them mess with eggs, even eggs that my silly chickens have decided to lay in the middle of the grass. Unsalted peanuts are great because crows can get through the shells, but most smaller birds can't. But the way I really got my crows' attention at the end of last year was by giving them some of our leftover Thanksgiving turkey. After we hadn't finished the leftovers and they were starting to get a little bit iffy, I decided to put some out here, and they've been back every day ever since. So I don't hear them right now, but I've started feeding them at the beginning of my morning chores, hoping that they'll see my face more as I'm walking around doing things and get a little less skittish around me. I would love for at least one of them to be comfortable with me outside without flying off. They're still a bit skittish, but they do come every single day. I've been floor feeding them on this very attractive black tray. Yeah. But they do enjoy feeding on the ground, and that's easy for me. So I'm just going to pour these into the tray, and they'll probably be along within a half hour, if not right away, because they watch for me every morning. The chickens have been giving me dirty glances this whole time, like, why are you feeding other birds before us? That seems unfair. You don't even get eggs from them. It's really wet out here, and the grass is mostly gone, but it'll grow back with vigor when spring hits. We have very serious grass. We very much live on the plains. We don't need to worry about grass not growing back, no matter how much I abuse it. Hey, baby. You like it directly from the source? All right, that's the front chickens. Normally, if it's below freezing, I'd have to bring out water at least once, if not multiple times per day, to make sure that their water isn't freezing. Thankfully, it's just above freezing right now, so I don't need to worry about that. Hey girl, you cold? Hey, come on. All right, so welcome to the swamp. Very wet chickens out back here in the goat field. The goats have not been going into the goat field, honestly. They don't like walking across a lot of water, which, yeah. Chickens don't like it much either. I'm planning on moving that coop as soon as it dries up a little bit and it's not going to be like stuck in a bunch of stuff. I'm planning on moving their coop to a little bit further back in the field, just where there's still grass, so that they're keeping their feet dry and all of those things. But they'll wear down that grass as well wherever I put it, so I need to be cognizant of that. So my gate is still broken. That might be a video eventually, but for right now, my gate is still broken, so I am not gonna go in there right now. I've checked around the coop door to verify that it does not seem like they've laid me any eggs, which is fine. I understand. I wouldn't be laying eggs either, but I'm going to go ahead and just feed them through the fence. They've got plenty of water here. I might even grab some of the water from this field to bring into the goats because they're out of water inside. And then we'll get the goats all fed with their hay. Hey, baby. Hey, not for you. Not for you, ma'am. Let me scooch this back for you. Mischief. I do feed the chickens in a couple of different places. That's a pro tip. Chickens are bullies, and they will, there's definitely a pecking order. There's a reason that's a phrase. So highly recommend, if you have chickens who are bullies like mine, just feed them in a few different places, and that'll give the runts or the rejects a chance to run back and forth and sneak some food, and they figure it out. They do just fine. That's my workout for the day. And honestly, that's it for most of my chores for this morning. I need to go make sure my son's actually doing his homeschool work. It's well over freezing, and it is going to be until the animals go up tonight, so I don't need to worry about coming out this afternoon to make sure they still have fresh water. When I do that, our well is frozen, so we have to carry the water manually, and I use those big tubs for kitty litter, and I just fill that with hot water so that it melts the ice that is inevitably at the bottom of the water, and just bring that out to make sure they're sorry, they are jumping all over the place just off camera. They're being so silly right now, but kind of in maintenance mode over the winter. That's what that looks like. I come out kind of as little as possible to keep myself from freezing. The goats don't really like the mud or the wet, so I keep them in this like walkway area. I'm not putting them in the field today because they actually prefer to be in the barn a lot of the time. So we've got hay stocked out here. I've also got a hay carrier thing in the barn that's full as well. So they've got options for where they want to be most comfortable because it has been kind of icky, and I completely understand their want to stay inside. Beyond that, on a normal day, either my husband or myself will put the animals up, but because we have the lovely automatic doors on the chicken coops, all we have to do is pour some sunflower seeds into a container in the barn, and then that lures them in, and then we close the door. So evening chores are super easy, usually in the dark, not really worth filming, but literally that door you saw me open, we close it. That's the other chore. And honestly, that's why farming and homesteading in the winter sucks for like hauling water and worrying about freezing and feeling bad for your uncomfortable animals. Oh, there's my crows. I have a whistle I do for them when they're fed. Six crows. I'm trying to learn crow, and the 6 in succession seems to be like a come to food call. Anyway, I'm constantly distracted by crows, especially this time of year when the bugs and so much is more quiet. You know, people aren't mowing their lawns, and so all you hear is the sound of my chickens, my goats, and my crows, and honestly, I love it. All right, friends, it is just before 7 p.m. It's a little bit later. We had a lovely day. I went out with my husband and my 2 sons, who are 3 and 9 for now. The oldest will be 10, closer than I'm comfortable with. And we went to a really lovely lunch and had some really tasty burgers and got to go to a wonderful local restaurant that I'm a big fan of. So that was great, and did a little Target run, got some grocery shopping done. Nothing too exciting. My husband did end up getting the animals tonight, so I didn't have anything to show you on that front, aside from it looked like me sitting here at this computer doing this. So that's what I did. And now I'm gonna be doing a little bit of streaming over on Twitch. I'm going to be getting ready for that. I've got my lights all set up. I've got my stream all set up. I've got my microphone, and we're gonna be doing some embroidery on stream. It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a good time. All right, so that's it for me today. I'm gonna get started here and get a little bit of creative work done while I'm on Twitch and streaming. And then I'm gonna be putting my kid to bed real soon. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe so that you can check out our hot sauce video. It's a fermented hot sauce. It's the best thing ever. I have completed the video. I just need to edit it, so you can expect that most likely next week. And I thank you so much if you've made it this far in the video of what was kind of just a rambling regular day here, and kind of just catching you up with what's going on with the farm and myself and my plans. So I'll catch you really soon, and in the meantime, treat yourself to something delicious.